Hello to all, and thank you so much for joining. I am Mari Troini, Global Chair of G100 Global Networking. Today, we are going to do it again. Again, this gathering, this way of exchanging. For us, this is our real enrichment. And when we are talking about something so crucial, so horrible for many women, that is the violence against them, just because of their nature, just because they are women, and to have the capacity to listen, to learn, and to exchange. And there are other people working for them, trying to make an impact, is absolutely important. That's why the smile, despite all this horrible topic that we are addressing today. 7 wins today on stage from G100 and 9 countries, different personalities, different expertise, different parts of the world, and we are here joining, trying to make an impact. Anti-gender-based violence with Anush, one of our wins that is an expert on this topic. Youth engagement that we have Anita Caprice from USA, a win that is focused on what is the future generation, so important to create this training on the minds of the youngest not to be violent. And if you work on education, you need also to influence what is the government. That's why we have Patricia Elias, ministerial government advocacy. That's exactly what we do here. We advocate for changes. And if you influence the government, there is a power, a center power that is communications and the media, the way you transmit that message to these generations and the future ones. And for that, we have the win from Alex Okoroji, Media, Art, and Communications. Why we do that? To build an eco-civilization societies. That's why we have Her Excellency Dr. Violeta Bulk here, founder and curator of the eco-civilization movement, trying to find the balance in societies. And what is the glue for all of this? Us, global networking. That's what we are here. That's why we are here to create cohesion inside and outside G100. So let's be great as much as we can. And I am so happy to share with you that today I will be moderated along with Claudia Marquez. She's a psychologist, she is an artist, and she make art of all she's doing. And she is very much aligned with G100 principles. So I am relaxed and grateful that you are here, Claudia. Claudia from Portugal, you are welcome.
Thank you everyone for sharing this space with you and talk about this topic so important. And one phrase that reminds me, it's the good growth as it is communicated from John Milton. So we are here sharing our expertise, our wisdom, our life experience, and more we share it, more we exercise it, more we will have it in assertive way, in intentional way, and in a respectful way. So thank you all for sharing this, for this knowledge, this space, and let's do it.
Indeed, Claudia, let's go for it. Today, we are supposed to have the message from our dearest founder and president of many initiatives, entrepreneurs, businesswoman, philanthropist, and a friend of all of us, a model to follow her footprint in the world, that is Dr. Harbin Arora Rai. She cannot join us today. She is traveling. She's having in Africa, so she is with internet connectivity. She's our guest of honor, one of our guests of honor. We have 2 today, but she don't need to be a guest because she's part of us. So, but we are honored to have her Harbin. When she sent their message, we are going to publish along with this video. So now I think we are going to give the floor, if she wanted to Her Excellency Violeta Bulk, Dr. Violeta Bulk, founder, curator of Eco-Civilization. As I say, we have joined many initiatives with her. She boosts many initiatives, and that is what we need, and that's why she's here, not only for what means eco-civilization, the impact that she is doing in G100, and the capacity to all the time creating initiatives, this creativity, this innovation, all the time, that help us so much to make a change. Violeta, thank you so much for taking the time. I know that you have a very busy agenda, so I really appreciate that you can join us. Thank you for supporting us.
Mer, thank you very much first to you for this invitation. I'm really honored to join any of your sessions because they are really the key issues that you pick, and they have a long-lasting impact. And of course, it's a real honor to be in such a prestigious company today with all my colleagues from the G100 movement and all other guests that you brought together. You really intertwined so lovely all the stories that we represent. And that's what I think this weaving is something that we are yet to learn for the future. But let me go straight to the topic of today's discussion, something that I find very disturbing. And I still recall that in the 20th century, we were hoping to leave behind all the negative emotions and all the bad behaviors, and the 21st century will be all glorious and happy and dandy, but how much we were wrong. So it is, on one hand, I'm sad that we are still discussing this topic, violence against women. However, at the same time, it is really necessary to talk about it. Let me just share with you a few global statistics that touch me and make me really, they're very disturbing. And I'm not going to say they make me angry because this is a waste of energy, but they do activate me to act and to be actually strongly present here today. From the 2020 statistics show that there is 89,000 women and girls were murdered. Homicide of women and girls statistics. Can you imagine? Only in 1 year. If that is not enough, 21,000 of women are additionally murdered through intimate partners and family-related femicide. And if not, even that is not enough, we still have so-called honor killing. What's honorable about this? 5,000 women are victims of honor killing. I mean, if nothing else, this is something we cannot tolerate, not as women only, but we as a humanity. So let's go very deeply in our heart and ask ourselves, why? How come? What is really the reason that is causing the statistics? We think European Union is really so advanced and a beautiful place to live. However, 1/3 of women in the EU have experienced physical and sexual violence. And what is even worse is that so many of women don't even report it. So these are known statistics, but we also know that only about 1 in 8 women report such incidents to authorities because they don't trust them, because they are afraid, because they are just really deeply confused and hurt. So what are really the global conventions for? Just a piece of paper that everybody is so eager to sign, but there is no real core changes being made in the society in order to bring these statistics down. And I know how much effort it needs to, on a systemic level, to change the whole paradigm. Similar, we've been facing with road accidents, which were bringing every year down closer to zero. But there is a huge systemic intervention, which I don't see in the violence against women. So why is this violence really happening? And most of it is done from men to women. Interesting enough, when you look at the core statistics, you see that a core wound, that is one of the contributions, a core wound in the male cycle. who are conditioned to fear what they cannot control. So why are we not addressing that? The other one is fully constructed walls of control again. Why are we not addressing that? And so often men confuse dominance with strength, control with leadership, and fear with respect. Why are we not addressing this? Why are we not talking about these three very simple relationships? And also, for some reason, society wants boys to be tough. And that's the only measure that can bring them the fame of being men. And the feminine is rising today, not to replace masculinity, but to bring it back into balance. And this is something I'm inviting you all. Let's bring this message very strongly into the public space. We don't want a dominant man. We want a balanced, really balanced, high-level quality life. That's what we're after. But we have to address this. Strength versus domination, leadership versus control, and respect versus fear. At the same time, I have to admit, and this is a lovely news, that there is an increase in male sensitivity to the feminine. And many men are today questioning the rigid traditional masculinity and exploring emotional depth, vulnerability, and relational intelligence. And there is increasing recognition of cooperation over competition, intuition over pure rationality, and empathy over dominance. And more men are participating in those kind of therapies, mindfulness sessions, and emotional intelligence work. And there is a growing recognition that the balance of masculine and feminine energy is essential for the sustainable evolution of humanity. But I gotta say that I cannot see that in literature, in films, in music, which are still increasingly exploring male vulnerability and the secret of feminine in the negative sense. Why is that? And I would love to hear that from our colleague, Claudie, who is expert in art section. So what can we do? This is a classical approach. I'm not going to spend too much time of it, but I would like to bring your attention that this is just a little makeup. Education and awareness, yes, okay, but we've done a lot. What have we achieved? Legal and policy forums. Paper does not solve these issues. It can address some of the challenges, but the change happens in our soul, in our hearts. Economic empowerment of women, yes, it does help a little bit, but you see today how increasingly dominant male power tried to shift that because there was no change in heart and soul. And encouraging healthy masculinity, yes, but it cannot be just on a declarative level. We have to change the way how we feel in our heart, not just the way how we think. So I'm going to finish my intervention with just the question, can we do it differently? I see some positive and flows that are encouraging me that there is a possibility to shift a human mentality in the heart and in our souls. And I would focus on mutual respect. New metrics for human worth, value emotional intelligence, the quality of relationships, the wisdom, capacity for connections and contributions to the whole instead of just drive for profits and success. We are invited to bring relational intelligence forward as part of the general education, how to manage relationships, emotions, how to actually develop quality relationships. And yes, there is a future that we could deliver where feminine and masculine are honored as equal and as an essential relationship in a quality society. So, can we do it differently? Yes. Let's remember that we are made of dreams. So let's start dreaming of a society we want to really, really live in. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my dear Violeta. This is absolutely amazing. You can imagine, look at all, because you can imagine how much inspired you are. You are many of what we do in G100 is based on your message. It's a steady message, and something that I'm sure in the I will leave the floor for the rest to make their comments because it's really very important. This element that you put on emotional relationship, the respect in relationship is so important that and it's the very basis. And so you have said many things that are very important, but I would like to highlight this part. And before I open the floor to the rest to make comments, please be very quick, so we don't have any delay to pass to Anush Gaspar, our expert on G100 on anti-gender based violence. I would like just to read a poem, very short, very quick, that is because we are trying to be great here. We are trying to give lessons in humble, but we are trying to give lessons, try to contribute, to say this is we have to do it different, and how we could do it. So Fernando Pessoa, the Portuguese poet, Claudia know him very well, he said, to be great, be entire. To be great, be entire of what yours nothing, exaggerate or exclude. Be whole in each thing. Put all that you are into the list you do. Like that on each place the whole moon shines, for she lives aloft. A little from Anita, Patricia, Anush, Belinda, welcome. How are you? Anush, very quick comments on Violeta. That is it was an amazing speech. Anush, yes.
Hi, thank you for having me here today. It's such a privilege and honor, and thanks to Violeta, of course. And my sincere apologies because of the time confusion. I just joined. I missed the entire speech of Violeta, unfortunately. But definitely I'll go back and I'll hear all thoroughly, and I'll get back personally to you, Violeta. Thank you for that.
Okay. Patricia, Anita, Claudia, very quick. So before we go to Anush.
Okay, yes. Violetta, I just want to say excellent presentation and message. And I love what you said about the fear with men and getting that, how can we get up to grow and to reduce the violence, women in violence, is to, get groups of men and in an intimate setting, and men speak about the fears that they actually have. And so I just thought that was just wonderful. I love that you included that. Thank you.
I would say that there is an initiative in the African Union that is the positive masculinity that was introduced in the African Union Convention Against Violence Against Women and Girls that just was adopted. And this would go along with what Dr. Violeta spoke about, eco-civilization. And the new way to be a man is positive masculinity. I find it very strong to say positive masculinity. And not like I kill, I smash, the war. It's not this. Positive masculinity is I respect, I protect, all the positive things.
Also, our attitude is very important. No, so we are not this kind of feminists that we are against men. So men are against women. We are just against those that are violent. So we're trying to build and to work with other men to do it better. Violeta, thank you again. You empower all of us with your message, taking the time, taking the work. It doesn't matter if it's one of these events that we do in Go Networking. You take your time, you work on it. So thank you for that, for being that. I always make make jokes with Violeta because she's a politician and I am quite, as a political analyst, I am quite critical, no? And she's the example that bring down all my argumentation against the political sector. So thank you, Violeta. Anush, are you ready? Yes?
Yes,
Anush, Anush is our global chair for anti-gender violence, so the very axis of this event. Anush, thank you for being here. The floor is yours.
I would like to start with, of course, the expressing my gratitude to the founder of this platform, Dr. Harbin Arora Ray, for such an amazing platform that we all are together here and we are sharing our opinions and trying to make some wonderful changes in the world towards the best. And yes, of course, thanks to Mar for organizing this amazing get-together, this amazing meeting, and giving us opportunity for just talking our heart out about the most important. Everything is so important. But yes, when it comes to the women empowerment, first of all, we cannot just globalize it and just generalize this topic and just start from anywhere. So it is very much important to divide into many parts. And our wing, my wing happened is dealing with the most core of the problem, right? The violence against women. The violence against women is difficult to explain by one word and just, to describe that it is one form. No, there are many forms, as all of us are aware. And not surprisingly, of course, it varies from location to location, from culture to culture, from even in the same country, from city to village, from region to another region. It has different forms. So in order right now, do not focus on the theoretical part of it and keep on talking, because as all of us know that in centuries, we are having a lots of talks about women movements and women empowerment. But today, taking this as an opportunity, I more believe on the action. So I am taking this platform as a call for an action for all of us. As Violeta said, I am the global chair of J100 and the gender-based violence wing, as well as I am the expert on working women's rights. I did my doctorate on that subject, and I'm a founder of Work Inequality Organization, which is providing gender inclusiveness in the workplaces, as well as trying to eliminate the sexual harassment at the workplace. So just one little bit of kind of an exercise, suggestion, because I don't want to cross the limitation of the time that I have. I just want us today to pick up one of the forms of the gender-based violence, which is sexual harassment at the workplace, and all of us work towards that right now together. And then one by one, we can continue this with other forms of the violence. So why I just chose this one? Of course, my expertise, but not only that. I believe that women empowerment is not possible unless we do not educate the women. And what is that education for if we do not provide women with a place where she is able to put in her education and for her self-survival, for her self-independence, and that for that self-independence and self-survival, she needs an economical independence. And that economical independence is possible to gain when her workplace, whether it is a domestic workplace, whether it is a workplace at the corporate, at the educational institution, and anywhere, is not safe for her, that she will step out into the public or maybe inside the domestic and perform activity for what she will gain an amount for her survival. I do not talk about the higher goals, but this much. And the sexual harassment at the workplace is one of these forms to push her back from where we all start to bring her up. That comes with, of course, the power of the masculinity. And today we emphasize the positive masculinity, which I'm very happy about. And that's one of the forms that, that to push her back and to create several issues in order that she will not be able to reach to the level that we work for, the empowerment. Well, there's a lot to talk on this. I'm looking forward to have all of you getting back to me to talk, but my suggestion, the work, practical steps that I want to take is that, I will conclude by saying this, is that I do a call for a movement through this platform provided by our sister Mar. I look forward that all of you or maybe those who are looking us through other side of the screen, that will come together, male or female, and raise the hand of collaboration, that through organizations, corporates, government, through other institutions, through individuals who face issue of the sexual harassment at the workplace, who think that they are facing and they don't know. To my surprise, there are many countries yet, even I am from Republic of Armenia. In Armenia, many think that there is no sexual harassment at workplace at all, though they all are facing the problem. However, there is no police complaint, there is no system to solve the issue yet. There is a lack of awareness, so everybody believes that there is nothing such like a sexual harassment at workplace. So what I want to say is, let's come together, let's work together. I am free for you to help you to conduct these awareness camps, to provide the trainings, to talk with individuals. Through my team members, we can deal with this issue and make practical solution, because this is important for economic development of as well as countries, not only for the females, but for male, for female equally, as well as for corporates. First of all, when I provide my trainings, I make to realize that until unless you do not have a place where is the harassment-free atmosphere, you will not able to achieve your targets which you have kept for your organization to achieve for the long-term solutions. So my dears, just keeping it short, you can get back to me through LinkedIn, through Instagram, through MAR, through J100 platform, through our secretariat. If you want us to work towards it, I'm really looking forward for our common collaboration. Thank you so much. Thank you so much, Mar, for this opportunity.
Thank you, Anush, to be here. Also, I stand with Claudia. We are working together with Claudia to host this event, and we are also looking forward to continue building a concept of what means violence, and we are working on the Spanish side, because Spain have developed a new concept of violence where they include the no consent kisses, for example, that there are sexual aggressions, and we are divided on that, and they are already sentenced on sexual condemnation because of the cases. So we are working on a very wide concept on violence. So when we talk about violence, we think of feminicides, we think of rapes as Violeta started, but we are extending the concept, and we need to know, we need to explore what we want it to be, what it stands for. Okay, Claudia.
Yes, it is very interested to have this globalization, these different perspectives from different countries, because each of us has exercise is liberty from different perspectives. And it's very important. I love all the interventions, and I want to say that the intervention of Dr. Violeta, from the sensitivity from masculine, and it's very important because we all, women and men, we have the responsibility. We all have a masculine and a feminine side, so we have to exercise it, and we all have the responsibility. The thing is how we do it well in a healthy way. So thank you.
Thank you, Claudia. Coming from a psychologist, it's really very important what you say. So her input is really important. Thank you, Claudia. Alex Okoroji, now our dearest Alex Okoroji, finally, she could enter, finally. And we cannot hear you. You are muted. Yeah. You continue muted. So
Okay.
Welcome, Alex.
So I've never gone on a Zoom on a mobile phone. So this is my first experience trying to connect on my phone, because something weird just happened today, and we're trying like 4 computers and I can't get it anywhere.
But you are here, Alex. This is the power of goodwill women. So you push to be here, and you are here. As I started in the beginning of this event, I say communications, media, and art. This is a key issue for what is violence against women, the way we could transmit the message. Any kind of initiative that we try to influence pass through what is media. what is communication. So that's why you are here, and I know that you are going to make art of that message of how we could do it. So Alex Okoroji from Nigeria, so a different reality, and nevertheless we are here together fighting exactly for the same, doesn't matter which part of the world. So Alex, the floor is yours. Thank you so much. And when I say so much, it's really so much after all the challenge you have this morning. Thank you.
Well, first of all, thank you for inviting us and, for creating this platform for us to share. And, I'm honored. I didn't want to disappoint you. That's why I was like, no matter what is going on, I have to show up anyway. So I'm, just glad that I'm here. And speaking of, violence against women, I think we all know someone who's experienced it, if we even haven't experienced it ourselves, one way or another, whether they're very direct or indirect, as we may say, especially, I'm part of an industry where it is very common, even though it's a very liberal industry, and we try not to pay attention, it does happen. And that being said, media is supposed to be, I would say, the gateway of information, right? And many times, a lot of people, depending on where you come from, depending on the culture and the society, uh, the patriarchy sometimes is so rooted in the culture that even though these experiences are real, you can't really speak against them because they've been normalized, right? If someone makes a pass at you against your own will, you have to figure out how to deal with that. That's not something that you complain about. And I think that the power, I'm sorry, I didn't come with any presentation. I wanted to keep it as informal as possible, as authentic as possible. But I would just read a couple of things some notes that I put together. I will start by saying that art is not just a mirror held up to reality, but it's, as somebody would say, it's a hammer that with which we shape and reimagine society. Sometimes we say art is a reflection, but it is so much more than that because it does have the power to shape perception, right? And we know many women who've experienced, whether it is physical, sexual, emotional, and there's a lot of stigma and silence, like I said, depending on the cultural norms that prevent people from speaking out. Now, awareness obviously is the first step to creating some type of change. And this is where art and media comes in, because now we have the tools, one, to shape perception, but also art has a way of expressing things, emotions that words cannot. And also we can use the different platforms that we have to tell stories that activate empathy, that challenge norms, that inspire people to take action. And I would say that the way that we represent some of the stories that we tell, we have the power to tell better stories and to represent women better, and just represent the truth of what's going on. And there are many people who are started using art as a tool to really create impact, through documentaries, just sharing what's happening, humanizing statistics. Because of course, if you sometimes, from like if you try to educate society using just statistics and data, is confusing for the average person. And this is where art can sometimes be a helpful tool, because not everyone is great at understanding the metrics, so telling stories and creating stories around real issues have a way of driving home and getting to the grassroots, right? And then of course, like we said, we can use films and documentaries to humanize statistics, for example. We can also use it to shift public narratives and spotlight these systemic issues. Because I remember, sometimes even there's a certain level of, for lack of a better word, privilege that someone may have, not knowing how their behaviors, no matter how small those behaviors are, affect the next person, unless they imagine it was someone in their family, say their child, right? It's hard for people to like, for and I don't want to say men or women, because I know that men also experience some type of violence, but we're talking about violence against women. And so when you're able to craft these stories that touch on the issues. And I want to use what I call the EAT process, which is, obviously, if you're trying to communicate, there are three things you want to achieve. One is evoke emotions. What type of emotions do you want to evoke? What does your media piece or art piece, whether it is a podcast, whether it's radio, whether it's TV, whatever it is, even if it's a song, music, what kind of emotion do you want to evoke? And that's important, because that steers the reaction, and creates, it sets a level of awareness. And then, of course, and then we have to think, how do we trigger transformation? So I'm trying to keep this very, I know we don't have as much time, but I would say that not only is, so art is one piece, and media. I think that while media is great for transforming information and educating the public and letting people know the ways that they can protect themselves, and letting people understand the different levels of violence, because sometimes, there's some people think violence has to be extreme, which it doesn't have to. But also there's the purpose that art does as well in healing, because I also want to talk about the power of healing, what art does in healing victims, right? Whether it's through music, or whether it's through something like journaling. I would use myself as an example. I've been a victim, and I healed through using journaling. Every day I would write, my experiences and how I was feeling, because where I come from, speaking to a psychologist or talking to a shrink wasn't really something that we did. In the part of Africa, where I come from, the only person you either talked to, maybe your pastor if you're religious, or tell a family member or something like that. But in my own situation, I couldn't do that because of the career, the industry that I was in, and because I was afraid about it being public news, and getting out there, and just because of my career. And so the only way that I could get heal myself from all of the anger, the bitterness, and the pain that I was feeling was journaling. And as I started writing every day, just, expressing how I was feeling, it wasn't going anywhere. I think one day, I took a bold step and put it out there. I wrote a Facebook post, I think this was 2008, and I pressed send. And I wish I could retract what I put out there. But what happened, I think, changed my life after that, because people started leaving comments and saying, "Oh, I know someone who's been through that. I feel your pain. I understand you." So all of a sudden, I found community. So it didn't matter that I thought I was isolated, being an actor and being my life, just realizing that I was just like them and they were just like me and our lives were the same. That started to create the healing. And people were like, "Oh my God, you're saying everything I'm feeling. You're saying everything and that made me, I kept writing, And every day you take away, every little day you find yourself healing until you're no longer there. So what I would say is that there is the power of art to heal, whether it is learning how to play an instrument, or listening to music, or learning how to paint, or journaling, like I said. There is the part, I always say there are two sides to this. There's the media, where the media obviously does educate and inform people, but there's also, what do we do to heal ourselves, after those experiences that we have. So pretty much that. So I will just wrap this up. I'm not going to try to get into any of the data, because I know that we have very intelligent women here who've probably shared all the case studies. I'm going to skip the case studies. But I would just say things like, let's say, for example, some popular campaigns that we already know, like, say, the UN Women's He for She campaign. That's a very popular campaign, right? Everyone knew about how they leveraged the power of celebrity voices, right, to engage media and to drive global engagement. And I think that what happens is that people identify with the people that they know, and those issues become real. Another example would be a theater play that I don't know if people know this, but there's a theater play called The Vagina Monologues. And The Vagina Monologues is a very huge theater show that's gone around different countries, just sharing, role playing the experience of the everyday woman who's going through domestic violence. And that also allows us to also connect with ourselves, because many of us don't even realize, for a long time, people didn't even know that they've been harassed, right? Just because you haven't been raped doesn't mean that you haven't experienced some type of sexual harassment. And people realize many years down the line, oh my God, something happened to me while I was a child with, that was, so again, these stories have a way of awakening a part of us that allows us to connect with our experiences and also take some type of action, whether it is, joining a campaign or, actively being part of a community like G100, for example, wanting to make a difference. And I will use the other, I mean, we know the Me Too campaign, Me Too is obviously very, very big on exposing um, you know, are people of influence who were using their positions to basically harass. So media does play a role in driving awareness. I think that is the big part and we in our different communities should be willing to engage different forms, whether it is collaborating on, with
Yeah,
other people to
Alex.
tell. Sorry?
Yeah, Alex. The time, dear Alex.
I know. So
So yes, sure.
I didn't want to talk to I didn't want
So
to get into it
so
because I
much.
know
We
we
have
can
so
go on
much to
about
tell.
no, so I know I didn't want to get into it, and I obviously also have to run, but I would just say thank you. I'm sure you get the point, and yes, it does play a role.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Alex. So important what you said, the responsibility from the media, and a point that you said about the vulnerability when we allow us to show our vulnerability, to touch our vulnerability.
Mhm.
It's when we start to healing. That's it. What you felt, right, Alex? So important, and thank you for share that. Thank you. And
You're welcome.
we are now we will hear Anita. It's not our next speaker. Thank you, Alex. Thank you.
All right. All right. Thank you so much. Again, yes, of course, absolutely. Thank you to Dr. Herbina Aurora Rice. She's just a beautiful sister that I always say, I said, she's one person that I know that is the closest to the universe that I've ever seen because of the ideas that just keep coming through her. Mar, thank you so much for creating this platform. And Claudia, I appreciate you both. And I'm just so happy to be here with all of you, brother and sisters. This topic here, violence against women, it could be domestic violence, what is the time? Domestic violence, intimate partner, domestic violence, domestic abuse. This is a huge crisis that is global. It's just not contained in a certain area, country, community. And as global chair of the youth engagement, one of the components is dealing with peace. And as my movement, I have a Tap Into You movement dealing with collective and individual peace. And within that, I'm saying that to say that within the foundation of the Tap Into You Foundation, the main thing is let there be peace, let there be anything, and let it begin with me. Let there be anything and let it begin with me. This particular, any type of issue is collective and it's individual. Now, the collective part of this particular topic, and I'm going to stay with domestic abuse, intimate partner, domestic violence. The collectiveness of it, and I mean collectiveness as far as consciousness, a collective consciousness within our global society, is that we've got to ascertain which is more dominant. We still have people with a mindset that if a woman is being abused, if she didn't want to be abused, she could get out of it. There's a large part of this society globally that still feels that. So there's a separation of a collective consciousness right there. Then we have, because even when we talk about, I'm going to say, for instance, just for instance, like the United States, what's going on with the United States, the leaders and things like that. And I share with people, we've got to understand that no one should be upset because whatever is happening as far as the strata, the leadership, it's a collective consciousness. We created it, we put it there. Okay, so that's the collective consciousness. Now, I want to share as far as with the individual. There are key things, and as Alex, the experience, and I'm sure, you line up 10 women and ask who has been verbally or physically abused, I would bet at least 8 of them would raise their hand. So for me, when I was thinking about this topic, and I thought, okay, for me, I'm going to go individually. I really believe that the key, the main, the all of it is self-awareness. We have got to become self-aware as far as those of us on the outside with our biases and prejudices. We've got to become self-aware to know that we need to change that, because without this awareness, we're going to keep that vibration out into the atmosphere. That's just all what time of day it is. As far as, and I mean this from the bottom of my heart, as far as the individual that is experiencing the abuse, my thing is to become self-aware. Ask ourselves, why am I in this situation? If I have to go 7 layers deep, then that's what I do. And that 7 layers deep means, why am I in this situation? I'm in the situation because of my children. Why are my children in this? Well, I'm in this I'm doing this for my children so that we can have a roof over our heads. Why do my children and I need this roof over our heads? We do this 7 layers deep. That is going to start the self-awareness component, where I think Anusha mentioned self-survival. And the more journaling, like Alex said, the more we become self-aware. And I don't mean using it as oh my God, become self-aware that I'm deserving this or I started this. And that has nothing, absolutely nothing to do with it. It is just about get rid of the guilt, because a lot of things that we do, even us who are in abusive situations, there's a part of us, it could be subconscious, that there's a guilt component. We need to start bringing all of this stuff up. I mean, we have so many movements and bodies that on the external that are being helpful. Absolutely. We need to start looking individually. I need to say, sister, I need you to become more aware of who you are. I need you to understand why you are in this situation. Tomorrow, the immediate next day, tomorrow you may still be there. But the more you become aware of who you are, the more you are going to start seeing more different components in that relationship. You're going to start seeing more components in that abuser, because we only do things either love or out of fear. Love or out of fear. You're going to begin to see the fears of that abuser. That's why I was saying earlier with Dr. Violetta, if we could begin like intimate settings where men, just like anger management, there's places for anger management. If there could be places for men where they could trust and really be vulnerable, say, yeah, man, this is what I fear. This is my fear. To help these men with their fear, then that also can diminish the domestic violence. Spiritual. If I am we are in a domestic violence situation, and if my spiritual part of me is not helping me grow and learn more about who I am, then I need to change another. And I mean this I'm not talking about any religions or anything like that, but then I need to change what type of spiritual aspect that I am leaning on to get to know and get out of this place. It's remember, I bet some of you may know. I think when I'm saying this, I'm thinking of what's love got to do with it. It wasn't until Tina Turner, it's a true story. It wasn't until Tina Turner went to Buddhism, she started going within and started realizing what was going on with her, that she started to change and even started looking at her husband in a different way, and one not of fear. Because one time in that car, she gave him good for God. And then after that, she left from there. But what was the beginning of it? Self-awareness. Not external awareness. Self-awareness. So my position is, that individual, yes, the collective, we need to be mindful of our collective consciousness, absolutely. And then individually, it's like, okay, my sister, let me help you. Let me help you learn who you are. So because the more you learn who you are, the more you're going to see, you know what? The more you're going to sit up. The more you're going to sit up until one day you're going to say, yeah, I'm going to start making a plan. Yeah, I'm going to start making a plan. Thank you. That's all I have. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anita.
Thank you.
So good to hear that. And that's it. It's we have to have awareness and ask us why and for what. Yes. Okay, this is happening, and sometimes it's happened in different scenarios, in familiar context and work context, and why or for what this is happening. Which wisdom I have to learn, what I have to learn with this. So important, Anita. Thank you for share that. It's important to stop the pattern to repeat in generations, like you said. It's collective, and it's important to stop this. Thank you, Anita.
You're welcome. Thank you.
And now we will hear from Patricia Elias, lawyer. Patricia Elias, thank you for being here, Patricia. You're mute. Yes.
Hey, hello. Thank you for hosting me, Mar, Claudia. Thank you so much. So I'm a lawyer in international law, and it's been like more than 30 years. I'm working on women's rights, and I am the G100 Global Chair for Government and Ministerial Advocacy. But my other hat, that is working on ending violence against women and girls. I am the chief of global diplomatic campaign of an NGO called organization called Every Woman Treaty. And Every Woman Treaty is a coalition of 4,000 grassroots NGOs and activists from all over 169 countries, working on one thing: ending violence against women and girls globally. And since more than 13 years we have been founded, we arrived to a solution. Is the Convention of Women's Rights is the CEDAW Convention. The title is Convention on the Elimination of All Sorts of Forms of Discrimination Against Women. But when this convention was drafted in 1979, violence against women and girls was not tackled, because by that time, a man beating his wife or killing her was family matters. It was not a trend, But slowly, they understood that violence against women and girls was so important that they did a general recommendation. So they have General Recommendation 19, and they upgraded it by General Recommendation 35, a CEDAW General Recommendation 35. And we are saying that this recommendation is not binding to states. As a lawyer, I believe in laws. I believe in binding things, to have a global solution. Why? I will give you an example. Why today we don't smoke in planes and in public places? Because there was a treaty called the Tobacco Treaty. Nobody knows about the Tobacco Treaty, but today it's effective. Nobody smokes in planes. Nobody smokes in public places, So same, why do we have rights today? Because of the CEDAW Convention. More or less, not women don't know about it. But this is why they can go to school. They have rights, So, and also what we don't know is that each country that have ratified CEDAW Convention has to report every 4 years on the status of women in their countries. The government will report, and so civil society will report. Like I did as civil society the two latest shadow report. It's called shadow reports. And in those reports, the government will say everything is okay. And you come and you say, no, this is lacking, this is lacking, this is lacking, this is lacking. And this is how the recommendation of CEDAW committee comes, saying, you need government, you need to change this, 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 this. Okay, government will do what? They will change the things that the less disturbs them. But it is already a change, and slowly, slowly we advance. Very slowly, but we advance. This is why I believe in this. And also because civil society can have this meeting alone with the CEDAW committee. I'm telling you, this is the insider things of the UN. In just the civil society and the UN CEDAW committee, and you can tell them the truth. You can say, this is what is missing, So their report will come very much informed and very much in place. So what you are saying is we need a new convention linked to the CEDAW Convention. It is called in UN, it's a new optional protocol to CEDAW to end violence against women and girls. Why? I mean, Violetta gave the number. I have the UN numbers, but it's the same. Like since 1991, World Health Organization said that 1 on 3 women experience intimate partner violence or sexual assault in their lifetime. The numbers are still the same. Today, every hour every 10 minutes, one woman or a girl is killed by her own family and usually the intimate partner. Every 10 minutes. Do you imagine a woman is killed and nothing is done? Look what is happening in Afghanistan, gender apartheid. Nobody is condemning it. Now in Afghanistan, they are even forbidding women to speak to each other. Do you imagine where we arrived? In Iraq, they want to lower the age of marriage to 9 years old. It's a legal rape of children, Look at what is happening is serial rape of women as weapon of war in all the countries. Did we hear one sanction? Did we hear one condemnation? No. Why? Because there is no international legal notion of it. What I do is I go, I see government, I see the permanent mission in the UN in Geneva and in New York, and I speak to have more countries coming. We need to have like 40 countries that joins the call for this new optional protocol to CEDAW, and hopefully in the Human Rights Council in June 2026, we will have a resolution and we will have it started. Until now, in 1 year, I had the organization I am with had 4 countries calling for it. And in 1 year and a half, I had 14 countries joining. So now we are 18 countries, but I still need us to arrive to 40 countries for it to be impactful and to have this resolution. So I'm asking all of you, ladies, if you have somebody, if you know a government person or somebody that is influential, please connect with me. We need to have more countries joining to have this convention ratified. And this will have education, prevention, protection, everything. Dr. Violetta talked about the Istanbul Convention. Istanbul Convention is a regional convention. It's for Europe only. Done by Europe for Europe. But they missed cyber violence, they missed femicide, they missed non-state torture, they missed gender apartheid. Why? Because it was done in 2011. This is why we need to have all of this in one place, codified, unified, for all women in the world to know they are protected by this convention. What you were saying, ladies, and what I've also I've seen, like women, most of the women in the world don't know they are under violence. They think that because they are women, they have to endure all of this. And we need it to be written in letter of fire that violence against women is a human right violation. This has to be, written. Until now, it is not. and we saw one state saying, oh, nowhere is it written that women's rights are human rights. Do you imagine? So we have to have it. We need those huge principles. I mean, violence against women and girls is a violation of human rights. So hopefully I'm seeing, you know, what is happening now in the whole world, this difficult situation. Some countries are reacting by wanting to be more in human rights. And this is why now we have like 18 countries that joined. But as I'm saying, ladies, I need each one of you to connect with me. Mar has all my contacts for us to do a global coalition. I would say that G100 will have a huge impact if we can help in this for this case, you know, because this impacts women in politics. Like the number says that 6 women on 10 drop from politics in the first months because of violence against women in politics. Cyber violence is addressed 90% against women. Harassment, sexual harassment, harassment in the workplace, domestic violence. I mean, it impacts women in all fields. How can humanity advance if half of it is left behind, you know? So I think that if we address violence, we are helping women in all fields, you know, because you have nowhere something called violence against women in politics, but it exists. I myself was I run to be an MP for France, and I was under violence, but I didn't know it was violence against women in politics, you know? And so if I didn't know, how do you imagine all women know that they are under violence? We need to highlight it internationally for nobody to say, I didn't know that this was violence against women. So ladies, I stop here, and I'm telling you, I'm Patricia Elias. Please connect with me.
So good, so good. Thank you, Patricia. Thank you.
Thank you.
It's so good. And so much work. It's not easy. It's not easy. And that's why it's so important this kind of initiatives, networking, global networking is so important. And I will check your work and I want to talk with you, Patricia. Thank you. Thank you. And the next one, Jitendra, welcome, and please share with us. You are mute.
Thank you so much, Mar, for bringing me on this platform and making me part of this lovely event. Topic very dear to me. I've been working in this area also for a long time. So I will begin with violence against women is a global phenomenon occurring in every continent, country, and culture, and is one of the most systematic and prevalent human rights abuses in the world. Gender-based violence against women is a form of discrimination and deeply rooted in power imbalances and structural relationships of inequality between women and men. It harms families, impoverishes communities, and reinforces other forms of inequality and violence throughout societies. Let's try to understand the conceptual framework revolving around this topic. Violence against men and women is rooted in unequal power relations between men and women in society and can be well understood within a gender framework. While sex is a biological category, gender is a social construct and refers to widely shared expectations and norms within society about appropriate male and female behavior, characteristics, and roles. Thus, gender roles prescribe strict division of labor, wherein women are expected to perform largely reproductive functions, maintenance of the household, childcare, serving the elderly, etc. Gender roles also prescribe characteristics of docility, unending patience, and servility for women. Women are judged and condemned by society if they go against the prescribed terms of behavior for them. Violence against women is a concern which is still hidden and not well recognized in many countries. and policymakers consistently request more and better quality information, including data on this phenomenon, to enable them to guide legislative and policy reforms, to assess the impact of measures taken, to ensure adequate provision of targeted and effective services, and to monitor trends and progress in addressing and eliminating violence against women. Accurate and comprehensive data are crucial for increasing societal awareness of violence against women and its unacceptability, and for enhancing the accountability of states to act against such violence. According to a study conducted by United Nations, violence against women is understood to mean any act of gender-based violence that is directed against a woman because she is a woman, or that affects women disproportionately. As per the study, women are subjected to violence in a wide range of settings, not just domestic or office, including the family, the community, state custody, and armed conflict. The following forms of violence against women have been addressed in the study: femicide, early marriage, forced marriage, trafficking in women, dowry-related violence, maltreatment of widows, intimate partner violence, violence by non-partners, prenatal sex selection and feticide, crimes against women committed in the name of honor, harmful traditional practices in many countries like Africa, and harassment of violence in the workplace and elsewhere. So it is not just domestic or office, it's a whole range of areas which is considered as violence against women. Violence against women, it apparently leads to concerns about safety, which limits the movements of too many women, particularly those who step out for work. It's not surprising that so many are still working in low-paid jobs with fewer prospects for career development, or so-called feminine jobs where they might have more female colleagues or be able to stay closer to home and avoid negotiating public spaces. When a woman is looking for a job, she has so many considerations apart from the salary and the position. It has happened with me also in the case of my daughter. She has to consider how far the office is, if the route is safe to travel in the evening, or even if it would entail working late shifts. So honestly, their choices are very limited. The Indian women's movement has been pivotal since 1970s in bringing issues like rape, dowry deaths, and female feticide into the national conversation, leading to significant legal reforms such as the criminalization of cruelty towards wives in 2005. Over the years, thousands of women have taken to the streets to demand change. Indian women have led a relentless fight for justice and equality in a deeply patriarchal society. In India, women's safety is a high priority for the government, and several initiatives have been taken for safety of women across the country, which includes, I will briefly touch upon them. The Criminal Amendment Law prescribes even more stringent penal provisions, including death penalty for rape of a girl below the age of 12 years. Then we have Emergency Response Support System, which provides a pan-India single internationally recognized number-based system for all emergencies with computer-aided dispatch of field resources to the location of distress. This number is 112 for women in distress. And then we are using technology to aid smart policing and safety management. Safe city projects have been sanctioned in first phase in 8 cities. The major cities like Ahmedabad, Bengaluru, Chennai, Delhi, Hyderabad, Kolkata, Lucknow, and Mumbai. The Ministry of Home Affairs has launched a cyber crime portal for citizens to report obscene content. Then we have launched NDSO, that is National Database on Sexual Offenders, to facilitate investigation and tracking of sexual offenders across the country by law enforcement agencies. And in order to facilitate states, union territories, Ministry of Home Affairs has launched an online analytic tool for police called Investigation Tracking System for Sexual Offenses to monitor and track time-bound investigation in sexual assault cases in accordance with the Criminal Law Act. Then there is the OSC scheme, or the one-stop center scheme, which is being implemented across the country, which is exclusively designed to provide integrated services such as medical aid, police assistance, legal counseling, court case management, psychosocial counseling, and temporary shelter to women affected by violence under one roof. As per available information, 728 OSCs or the one-stop center have been approved by the Government of India, which are operational in the country. In addition to these measures, Ministry of Home Affairs issues advisories from time to time with a view to help the states and union territories to deal with crime against women. But while the government can make laws and implement prevention and response strategies, and women can march on the streets and influence policy, the real work to address violence against women has to be a collective people's movement. From our homes to the street, and with one key ally too often missing in action, the men. I will sign off with, on a lighter note. There was a group of men who told a group of women that if men did not exist, who would protect you? And the group of women said, protect from whom? If the men did not exist, we don't need any protection. So that was, very deep meaning, but yes. Thank you for letting me share my thoughts.
Thank you. Thank you for your wisdom. Your point of view is so important. And we all have to exercise our responsibility. And it's important to clarify the limits. What is violence and what is not? Yes, the limit between this is so important. Thank you, Vitendra. Thank you. And now the next Padma advisor, G100 networking. Thank you for joining us, Padma. Thank you.
Hi, hello everyone. Thank you for having me on this platform. Thank you, Mar, for creating such a wonderful platform to discuss the violence against women. I hope I'm audible. Okay?
Yes.
Okay. To start with, I want to call gender-based violence a pandemic, a social evil, a worldwide phenomenon. It has no boundaries, no adherence to law enforcement or rules and regulations, but it knows only infringements. Cultures, traditions, religions, patriarchal societies, and economic freedom are playing a major role in making societies have a zero tolerance policy for gender-based violence across the nations. As all the speakers mentioned about various forms of gender-based violence, I would like to focus on the female infanticide and the FGM, female genital mutilation, which are very horrific forms of gender-based violence. One of the most horrific gender-based violence is female genital mutilation. As per latest WHO report in January 2025, more than 230 million girls and women alive today have undergone female genital mutilation in 30 countries in Africa, the Middle East, and Asia, where FGM is practiced. It indicates the extreme form of gender discrimination and violates the individual's right to health, of course, security, and the power of autonomy of the individual's body. It's an act of inhumanity In Indonesia, 49% of girls under 14 years of age undergone some form of female genital mutilation, although it is outlawed. Coming to female infanticide, the cases are rising in many countries due to preference for a son over a daughter for some religious and traditional reasons. In South Asia, daughters are treated as unaffordable economic burden due to the prevalent dowry system. Though some of these are at higher risk of persecution, like women, children, and members of ethnic minorities, older women, and members of the marginalized societies, people who identify them as LGBTQ+, refugees in the refugee camps, migrants, and also the vulnerable people in concentration camps. There are as many as 1,583 legislative measures across 193 countries to address violence against women. Even then, we are talking about gender-based violence, even in this 21st century, where we are reaching to the space, spending time there. We are undertaking the Mars missions, etc. Still, the attitude of people is at the grassroots level only. In northeastern states of India, the gender-based violence rates are exceeding the national averages, particularly in the areas affected by the ongoing conflict and where gender roles are strong. In India, society shames the survivors and ridicules the survivor and pushes her family into silence. They want to have out of the court settlements in such cases. In Pakistan, the term karokari or the honor killing, especially in the Sindh province of Pakistan, the Human Rights Commission estimated around 1,000 women are murdered in the name of honor every year. Then one more practice is there in Pakistan. Savara is a custom where girls and minors are given in marriage or servitude to the affected family as a part of compensation to end the disputes and murders, cases like that. The UN describes the situation in Afghanistan as gender apartheid. The term is self-explanatory for the situation of women in Afghanistan. Recently, the Taliban ordered the closure of all beauty salons, affecting the jobs of 60,000 women and their livelihoods. This is an example of a state-run gender-based violence. You know, if the women raise their voice, then what happens? We all know that they have to face the fatal consequences, even forced disappearances to that matter. Women trafficking for sexual exploitation for 64% of detected case in East Asia and Pacific. Okay, and we also know we are hearing about femicides occur in African countries, Central and South America. 1 in 8 women have experienced sexual violence, including rape by a non-partner. We know the cases of intimate partner violence, and there are also situations of non-partner violence on women. The effects of gender-based violence as we all know very well, and we have been discussing on such forums like G100 and other platforms. It has a long-lasting effect. The violence has long-lasting effect on survivors and their families. Impacts can range from physical harm to prolonged trauma and mental torture. Rapes and sexual assault can result in unwanted pregnancies, complications during pregnancy and childbirth, and sexually transmitted infections, including HIV. Then these forums are very useful to discuss how to prevent this gender-based violence. Here we have to remember one thing, that gender-based violence is not only restricted to women, girls, etc. Because men and marginalized section people like LGBTQs, all or everybody can undergo through this gender-based violence. So then how to prevent? Let us discuss some of the points as how to prevent. Our G100 and all the soul sisters and brothers here present, we always campaign for he for she and she for he. And we have a forum, she economy. So understanding the concept of he for she and she for he and campaigning for the same, we have to undertake the campaignings such. It is not the survivors to be shamed. The perspective of the societies must be changed. Here, I would like to recall or remember the horrific rape case of a French woman, Dezel Palicot. She has been raped by 72 men for at least 92 times for 10 whole years. It sends shivers through our spines. Her husband drugged her and raped. And the most pathetic part of it was that her husband used to invite men through chat rooms and filmed all the 92 acts along with the 300 photos of Dezel. What I want to mention here is, see, one thing, he kept 20,000 videos and photographs in the folder, which he named abuse. See how and what is his mindset. The folder of the name of the folder itself is abuse. Dezel Palicot has no idea about this, and later she came to know about it, and she preferred a public hearing. She wanted to bring the change in the society, that shame should not be on the victim, but on the perpetrators. Really, we have to appreciate her courage to face her hearing in public and her effort to switch the sides of shame. So that's why when I said it is not the survivors to be shamed, the perspective of the society must be changed. Equal distribution of power, authority, and freedom in all aspects should be given to the women, girls, or to the marginalized sections. Empower women to understand their rights. They should seek justice for the violated rights, and also strengthening and strict implementation of laws and policies to prevent all types of gender-based violence, ensuring that perpetrators of sexual violence are held highly accountable and are punished, and empowering girls and women through education, and they should be provided with the safe spaces. And we know that even the home, the intimate space, the four-walled rooms are not even safe for women, because here we mention the intimate partner violence. creating supportive environment for
Padma, 1 minute more. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, just I will conclude. And we talk about the cross-cutting issues like female literacy, percentage of women, the gender pay gap, and the representation of women in politics, etc. Thank you. Thank you for having me. And thank you for your patient listening. Thank you.
Can I add one more thing?
Yeah,
On
sure.
the French case of Gisèle Pellicot, all those men that came to the house, were saying, because it's her husband, so he has the right to use her body. They found it very normal, that the husband sells his wife without her consent. He's the husband. This was their way of speaking, Imagine,
Yeah.
just imagine.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you, Patricia, for bringing that case. I think this is something that will help us to figure out what is happening, because this is Europe. So there's no excuse of culture or of religion or anything, no. So, and it happens. So thank you for that. I think we are prepared now, Claudia, to pass with our dearest Cristina Serioni.
Thank
you so
Cristina
much.
is advisor for another win that is here today. That is Global Alliance and Alumni, very much connected what we are doing now. We are connecting different areas of expertise. We are doing partnership in different aspects, and an alumni. No, this is part of the education. So thank you, Cristina, for being here and for bringing that very specific area of work that could contribute to make our world a little better.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me and for organizing this very interesting event. It has been very inspiring from everybody because we touch all the sphere of this crisis. I would call as a global crisis, actually. So we start with the law part, the need to have convention that can indeed support and mitigate what are the consequences of the victim. We know also from the data that there is, like we already mentioned, Patricia, from the UN Women, every 10 minutes a woman has been a subject of violence. Most of the time is home violence. We have different type of violence, can be something explicit or something like very subtle, that people are also, women are found difficult to identify. And this is something that we need to think why. It has been very interesting to hear the spiritual part, the fact that we need to understand who we are. It is important to understand that we need to have a framework that can protect the victim. But we need also, and I fundamentally believe for everything, what is important to understand the cause of an issue and not only to focus on the symptom and trying to work on the short-term effect. If we try to, for a moment, pause and go back a little bit in the traditional system of a family, where there was historically the patriarchal, where the man has been always grow with the fact that a boy should be a provider, should be a performer, a protector, while a woman should have been the one taking care of the family and searching for some stability. This already give historically and also from a cultural point of view, this eradicate feeling that indeed we grow up as a boy and girl with two different approach, apparently. So the boy is the one who has to provide and procure what is needed in a family, and the woman is the one who has to just taking care. And nowadays we arrive in a moment where I think we need also to pay attention and care about the man, about the boy. There is a global crisis where we have a target of young boy from 16 to 24 years old, which are victims of addiction. And this is a very big phenomenon when we start to understand why and where this addiction comes from. If we go back, and even now in the work environment, like we said, in the family, when we have in the adult age those phenomena, and we go deeply into a psychological analysis, it's most of the time something related to the youth. That could have been a trauma, could have been something, a misattention from the family. It's something so radicate in an individual person, and I was really agree with Anita that we need to not speak even anymore about gender, but human being, like Violet said, but also go back in our individual as a person, in the connection with ourselves. When you hear men that or young boys that they have the feeling that they grow up where they are never good enough, or they never felt that they could be at the level of a parent as a role model, this is a big message that has to let us think also in the family as a parents. Are we really growing up our kids with the principle, which is the simple principle just to give a hug, just to say a word, you have done a really great job? Are we doing this at work, in the workspace with our employees? Are we trying to evaluate the people that we are surrounded? Because this seems to be a very simple act, but this can have a very big impact. Because most of the time when we arrive at this such situation where a boy is able to kill the girlfriend just because she left him, this is the possession, because we grow up in a technological world where we, as parents working full-time, we think that we can give love just not giving to our kids what they need, and with the technological also environment that they are growing, they think that can have everything. In the moment where, as an adult, there is something which is love, and this love they cannot have for any reason, there is just one reaction, to be aggressive. Because when you cannot get anymore what you have, what you feel it's yours, or what you feel should have been your possession, you can only react, like Violet said, or with love or with aggression. And this brings aggression. So I think here we need to work with the convention, with the law, make sure that globally we create a safe space, a space where women can feel free, women can be empowered, they have a voice, but we in parallel need to also do a step back. So try really at the school, in the family, to be to support even parents with an education which is not only for kids but for parents as well, because in this world, in this fast-paced world, we lose also as a parents what is real our role to grow the future generation. So we need really to be assistant in those small steps and try to take the time, a quality time, to grow our kids to become better adult, the better version of themselves. And it's for the reason that I think we need to also emphasize that the fact boys are not so used like girls to the emotional intelligent education. And this is something that need to be enforced not only at work, but really at a young age, in order that we just grow as a human being with understanding that this is the limit of our freedom, and where is our limit is start the limit of the other person's freedom. We need to understand that we need to accept when we cannot have everything, and maybe understand why we cannot have everything, and try to go with the lesson and to grow with this lesson. So I think it is important to go back into the spirituality, to try to also at a global level, when we still have religion that doesn't accept or admit a certain gender freedom, to understand really what is the principle of God. God really would like to have this situation where a woman cannot have the freedom to go to school or to have a public speech, or this is more the men fear for something that could be not anymore under their own control. So I really want to emphasize that women in this moment are having the tooling, thanks to all this type of networking, thanks to all the group of international movement that trying to stand for them, which is very important, trying to with the international law and convention that try really to make this happen. But we need also to stand close to the boys, to the men, because most of the time is also a problem of insecurity, not self-confidence, mental health. And this is something that need to have a preventive approach. So we need to go into not only legislation, but really health support at young stage, family support, because this is something that we need to work not in silos, but really as a collectivity, as a family, as a community, where we are open to speak about what are the fear, why we have those fear, where they come from, and how we can mitigate all the risk to grow a not a healthy generation. And of course, also this is this subject is related to geographic issues. So while in a developed country, we need to pay more attention really on an emotional intelligence and a situation. We have country where unfortunately the progress is not on the same level, and we need also to try to find the tooling, the empowerment tool for women that can connect to each other and trying to find the strength in a community to be more independent. And this can be financial independence, can be entrepreneurship, can be education, to have the opportunity to meet a group of women like them that can give a word, can inspire them to at least to stand up if they still they don't have the strength to do that, but they also teach them to become what they always dream to be, because this is possible, because in certain situations there is still in some countries.
Cristina,
Yes.
1 minute more to close.
Sure,
thank you.
So just to wrap up, I think is such what we are doing in this moment in the society is really good. We have to evolve and continue, but I think we should also do a step back, which comes from the family, from the spirituality, and from the reconnection to ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Cristina. I knew that it would be absolutely amazing as it was your speech. I would like to highlight some aspects that I think are really, really important. First of all, you focus what is violence like a global crisis. And this is not the general speech. They don't talk about. They talk about, it's violence, it's a security issue, but not as a global crisis. So, and you are correct. When we are seeing the data, it's too much. It's too much in all the places. So it's a global crisis. Then I love the way you connect what Anita have said about what is individuals and what is the community. And you say, well, we need to work on what is that individual freedom. How we don't be intrusive in the other one, or even violent. And for that, you say this is the spiritual part. And there is not a coincidence that Anita and Cobra are our two spiritual elements, the big elements that we have today. And this is an invitation not to leave. That's why you have been invited to be in this event, because in this issue we cannot let any aspect. And the most important aspect is the one that take responsibility, not because to blame the women for what's happening, but what they do after that. So if not, we create a cycle of hated violence. And we live in, and I end with this, we live in a world where we're trying, there is an agenda, and a political agenda trying that everything had to be global. So everything had to be the community, the state. And when we talk about global, it's centralized. It's a power that is centralized. No, we need to go back what is the individual, not in an individualistic focus just to individual taking the responsibility and from their own make an impact in the community and not the other way around. If not, violence is a problem of the government. It's only a problem with the government. And it's not. It's not, and that's why they're overwhelmed and then they cannot face it. No, so thank you so much, Christina, for filling all our expectations with your.
Thank you so much,
Thank you so much.
Appreciate.
No, thank you. We are going now with our dearest Belinda Odiamo of Africa, Nigeria. We have Nigeria with Alex, now Belinda with Kenya, and we have well, there is, yes, from Africa we have both of you. So I love that you bring that that African soul here in to this event, Belinda. We are very proud to say that she is our Kenya chair for global networking. Also with a story that I don't know if you are going to say relate to that of the healing, I know. And also Alex mentioned something that we have a chat with Belinda that was very interesting, and I would like to share with you. That is what is all this genital mutilation in Africa. That is part of a religion, we could say, a tradition. And when I talk with Belinda, I say, but what is the feeling? How they feel? This is the first things that I always ask for. Doesn't matter if it looks horrible for me, but how it looks locally. I always concerned about religions and traditions, and how the freedom of each woman to decide. And Belinda said to me, well, there are women that they are concerned that if they do not go through this surgery, let's say, they are not going to get married. So for them, could not be something horrible. It could be something positive as a way to be inserted in the society. I leave it there, and I pass the floor to Belinda. Pay attention to her because, and also Belinda had this combination of spirituality, of impact in the society. She's wise. So thank you, Belinda, for bringing your wisdom to our event. You are muted.
Thank you so much, Mar, for this invitation. Thank you, Claudia, for hosting me. We are so grateful. The Kenyan country chapter is very, very grateful for this platform because it has enabled us to do quite a lot to transform the society that we are in. Speaking of FGM, it is true that some women feel it as a rite of passage for them to get married and also to be accepted in the community. But the other part of women feel so bad because, it robs them of the enjoyment or the right to enjoy their conjugal rights if they're married or not. So it is a mixed feeling, and so goes to men because it is the men who reject women who have not undergone FGM. So it is a two-sided coin. So for us to end FGM, that is female genital mutilation, we have to invite men on the table because it is not only women who are cheering for it, but it is men who are accepting women who have undergone FGM. So we cannot talk about FGM without inviting men to the table. Thank you so much for that. So I want to connect with what Christina said. Christina said that where is the fear coming from, or what is your fear and where is it coming from? For a very long time, I've always been fearful of public transport. And I didn't know why. Anytime I think of myself bothering or getting into a public transport, that is a bus, I just feel a sense of fear. Up until about 1 year ago, I started asking myself, where did this fear come from? Because I really needed to understand why is it that I am behaving the way I am behaving. Then I got, I don't know whether I can say I went back to my 10-year-old self That was 27 years ago. Right now, I'm 37. And I remember this occasion, I was putting on a tunic. A tunic is a uniform that is checked white and purple. And I was getting into a matatu. Matatu is a local bus. And because I was paying half of the fare, children back then used to pay half of the fare, I was told that I should be carried. I should sit on someone else because I didn't pay. Yes, I didn't pay the whole amount for me to occupy a seat. So this was a total stranger, and that was very common back in the days. We could, if you're a child and you paid half of the fare, you'd sit on someone else, whether it's a lady or a man. So I remember I was wondering, why is this man moving and, why is he behaving in such a way? I could not understand. Why is he touching me? And, because he was an adult, I couldn't question him. I was kept on turning, then he could wink at me. And I'm like, what is all this? And because, our culture back then did not allow us to question adults, I felt very irritated. I can remember because he kept on moving and swinging, and I could not understand because back then I was very naive. But all I could remember, I told the conductor, the person who collects fare, that I didn't want to sit there, and insisted that I could stand. Apparently, when I stood, because I said the place I was supposed to alight was not very far from there, this man stood there. So I kept on wondering, what's wrong with this person? What does he want from me? But thank God enough, I alighted. There was, because in Kenya, there are stages where people alight. If you reach your stage, it's called a stage or an alighting stop. If you reach your stage, then you alight. So I alighted and I decided to take the rest of the journey on foot. But this thing kept on bothering me. But as a child, it doesn't register in your mind because I remember when I tried, I touched the back of my uniform, there was something wet. Yeah, so all this thought just came to me last year, and I realized that my fear of public transport came from that unfortunate event. No one has ever understood because when it comes to boarding the so-called matatus, I would rather even walk. Yes, because I didn't know it was because of that fear. So when one of us here was saying that the shame should not be put on the victim, but the perpetrator, this makes me to, question how for a very long time our society kept on stigmatizing the victims. And that is why most people kept quiet. There are people who've been raped that I know that never said a thing about it because they felt that they would be ashamed. Their parents would, their parents would question why they led themselves into such situations. So because this has happened, I found myself wondering, how safe are our public transport? Do we have CCTVs? I know in the developed countries, there are CCTVs, there are security measures for women, and they are very safe to use public transport. But for us back here in the developing countries, how safe are we in the public transport? How safe are our girls in the public transport? Because we still have the matatus as the public buses where people stand next to each other as they face the front. I believe that there's someone who would still go through the same thing I went through as a child. So it calls for an action for us to, just advocate for safety, advocate for safe space, even for women in the public transport. So I also want to join lawyer Patricia, and I believe that I can make my contribution through the government of Kenya. so that we see how we can join the convention and probably other countries in East Africa, because indeed we cannot wait for 100 years to achieve gender equality. We've come so far, we are still going so far, but every one of us has a part to play. Thank you so much. I'm Belinda Odhiambo from Kenya.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Belinda, so much. Such a story, and it's unfortunately is so common. It's a story. It's so common story. Like Anita said, is we have to face the things. We have to face the things. Why and ask why I'm feeling this, and if openness, like mind, openness, open our heart, open our mind, and hear other opinions, other things, and ask ourselves why I'm. It's not easy. It's not easy because it's like very profound. Like it sometimes you have to have some structure, to some courage to ask yourself why. Yes, thank you.
Can I
Thank you,
add?
Marina. Yes,
Can I
yes,
add
Patricia.
that FGM is forbidden by the Maputo Protocol, that is Convention on the Violence on Women in Africa. And now it has been condemned again and sanctioned by the new African Union Convention on Violence Against Women and Girls. So Belinda, please, what we need to do, what you need to do in Kenya is to ask the government to put sanctions, to implement this. Why I'm saying this? Because FGM, there was a documentary movie on it. It's done on girls that are 2 years old, and they cut everything. Some of them die when they do this. They die from infection. They die from, and this is not a choice. This is imposed on them. So I don't care if the man will not. I don't care if the man will not marry them if they didn't have FGM. I care about their health and about their life. And we need to change the mentalities. This is very important in Africa. Senegal has dropped from FGM, like a huge drop, because of a Maputo Protocol. Belinda, you have to move it in Kenya for them to have a campaign, on media, on social media, on TV about FGM, because this is very dangerous for women's health. There is a huge documentary about it, and like the lady that did it, her 3 sisters died in FGM, her 3 sisters. So that's it.
Yes, Patricia,
Sorry, Christina. Patricia, what you are saying, I fully agree, but these big capital letters with a but. What you are saying shows exposure, the fact that just to have a legal framework is not enough, because you are facing not just men that doing that, as you say, I don't care if men going to continue to do it, but you are facing traditions, and you are facing the own will from women. The women that wanted to do it, that wanted to be part of that. So it's much more complex than that. So when you approve a law, you need also for to be implemented to hold the complicity from the people, women and men. And when we do that and we advocate for this kind of law, we forget that there will be many women that will say, no, I don't want that, because that's clash with my tradition. So we need to take that account. I know that it's very complex.
In Senegal, you need to. Belinda said they have a campaign on it. They have to hire the campaign, because in Senegal it succeeded. This is what I'm saying. This law, this treaty, the Maputo Protocol, lowered the rates of FGM in Africa in a huge way. But
I know, Patricia, thank you for that. I just wanted to highlight the challenge that's much higher than what we could suppose. Christina, please go ahead.
Yes, no, I wanted to add, because I'm also in this topic. The challenge is, like you said, Mar, that the girl, they also here is the fear that if you don't go into this operation or process, you are left outside. isolated because everybody does, because they know this is the tradition. But like Patricia said, you need to work together with the government also to prove that this is not only something that you want to drive against the tradition, but it's also something that is connected the growth of the economy of the country. Because if you consider the operation have a cost, most of the girls during this operation phase cannot attend school. After the marriage, they have to go into another operation to repristinate everything. All the money that could have been saved if this process is not initiated could have been invested in the education of girl and in the growth of the country. So when we create a convention or a law, to be more successful also from the signature of the government, you need to prove all the aspects and all the benefit that you could create with a such convention, which is economical growth, which is mental health, which is human right, of course, but and also through this, the government will help also to redefine the traditional way to have a woman suitable for a marriage, I think.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you, Christina. We are going to pass now to Cobra Oskubek. He's our Belgium chair. Please, if you could all mute yourself. Cobra is our Belgian chair for global networking. As I said before, is this side, this very spiritual side. I don't know if today you are going to go through that, but this is your profile, and that's why your inputs are so valuable and so important in this hostile society that we live in. Cobra, the floor is all yours, and then we pass to Claudia. Claudia will close with her presentation. A psychologist, an artist, is strategical, no? So to measure, to manage these emotional aspects, and at the same time with this side of artistic side. So spirituality, psychology, art will close an event on violence against women. Cobra, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Mar. Thank you so much. It's so lovely to be here today with familiar and new faces as well. So let's dive in. Come whoever you are, wanderer, worshiper, love of living, it doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come even if you have broken your walls 1,000 times. Come yet again, come. So this is the beautiful words of Rumi, who was ambassador of love for UNESCO a couple of years ago. And well, I'm from somewhere which is a part of West, East, and South, yet belong to none of that, which is called Turkey. I'm originally from Turkey, and our country is located, a part is to Africa, a part is to Europe, a part is in Asia. It's kind of a Middle East country, but not at the same time. So there is a confusion here. So I had chance to grow up in a very different environment, let's say, from cultural background, from the socio-economical, socio-cultural, so everything was different in our 7 geographic parts. And this is why I can relate with all of your beautiful sharings, because we have almost everything in the country. We experience 4 seasons at a time, or any time of the year. So it's a big country. And why I share it is simply, no matter which part of the country my friends, very close friends, were coming from, or now that I'm living in Europe, at the heart of Europe, Belgium. So what I see is, no matter where we are from, in which culture we are raised in, it all starts with our mothers. So the first time when we come to Earth was simply we connected with our mother, Then through her, we started learning the world that we are living in. Through her emotions that we owned and considered as our own, we believed that this person likes us, dislikes us, this or that, you know, whatever you think about the people's opinion about you. And that turned into something, especially as we are living in history, and in the history, in a patriarchal age, what we learned is even our mothers did not love us in a way that made us feel worthy. So how many of you can say or relate with that, can say that your mother was putting you first no matter what is going on? You know, in some parts of the world, there are people who are valuing their sons more than their daughters. And there's today, one of my clients called me in tears. She is 42 actually. And what she was telling is, she had this conversation with her mother, and the mother told her that, oh, because she said she looks like her mother, as an uncle mentions, and the mother says, no, you are not like me. I'm more beautiful than you. So this might sound silly to some of you, or funny, or whatever, but this is a very realistic example in which level we compete with our daughters, with our mothers, and at which level we were disconnected from our self-worth. So either I'm a spiritual artist and intuitive astrologer, so I use art and astrology to support people to reconnect with their self-worth, because if we don't feel worthy, we cannot change a single thing, neither in our lives nor in the world. And the world that we are living today, the earth, it is simply a reflection of our collective consciousness. So that shows us a lot of things. By the way, if someone can give me a heads up when the time is up, because I forgot to check it. So what I was telling, it is us who need to heal our connection within the self, with our mothers and with the earth first, so that we can feel that worth, that who we really are. Because this client from today, the very easy example, she's one of the most gorgeous women that I know. And even this very simple thing can create a chaos in her life, came by her mother. It is a huge violence, because it is not that moment that is putting her in tears. For her entire life, she felt that way. So what I want to say is simply, doesn't matter which culture we have, which religion we were raised in, what we believe, or what physical specialties we have, doesn't matter. We all are beautiful, because it is our emotional lenses that shapes our perception. So when you look into that pencil, if you like it, dislike it, or if you didn't even notice it, it is your emotions gives the meaning to it. And we cannot clean our lenses, we cannot change those emotional lenses without turning within and finding a way to reconnect with our self-worth. And I was planning to ask you that what violence means to you, because there are many different types of violence, but I'm going to share with you mine. I appreciate if any of you who is watching this video can type to the comments what your violence description is. But to me, it is core is like violence is about control and suppression. So it seeks to take away someone's autonomy, voice, or right to live freely and safely. it can be direct and visible, like physical harm, or indirect and subtle, like manipulation or neglect. But whichever your description is, violence is all about taking someone's authentic voice away. So art is a beautiful way to reconnect with that authentic voice. And I think after me, dear Claudia will talk about art part more, but what I can say, I would like to say is we all actually channel emotions. If we do that consciously, we become artists or psychics like myself and Claudia. Or if we do that unconsciously, we create emotional patterns. And violence is an emotional pattern that we all channel constantly and reflect constantly again. So if we want to just create a change, even having a pen and paper and, you know, drawing some simple things just by thinking an emotion that we don't want to carry anymore, this will help to release that emotion. And I think these speeches you gave inspired me to host some events for women to express their emotions freely during the creative process. I think, Claudia, I would like to talk to you about that as well. Maybe we can do that together. And Mara, of course, I would love to have your guidance on that. Yeah, that's what I would like to share. Thank you so much. I think my time is up.
Yes, thank you so much, Cobra. It was absolutely amazing. Cobra, the proposal that you leave, I think it could be great because we see that these different perspectives is wonderful for this event, but they leave us with the feeling that we need more. So maybe we could do some kind of interview, for example, to Christina, to Anita Powell, to Patricia, to talk about her project, or Anita to develop their concept, Padma, Jitendra. We could do that maybe as a way to give continuity. Any kind of proposal on awareness is not enough to fight back, and we could do that. So as I always say, if this is what we could do, we have to do it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, thank you so much, Cobra. It was lovely. Claudia, the last one. So I hope I don't have to tell you that it's only 8 minutes of presentation. And you limit yourself your time.
Just a second, please.
You have to share, no?
Yeah. Yes, I have to share. Yeah, just a second.
Claudia is from Portugal. She's based in Portugal. As I say, she's chair for Seival in Setúbal in
Seychelles.
Seychelles. I always confuse Setúbal in Portugal, and she's very active, and she will bring psychology and art all together.
Yes, thank you. So art as a tool. So I will talk about a case study. ADI is a democratic association for the defense of women's interests and equality from Portugal. After that, how art can improve psychological, emotional, and social. I will like to add spiritual and energetic conditions for women, and not just for women. Contacts and acknowledgements. So, case study from ADIM. I don't work there, but I know very well their work. They receive women that's and somehow is like some kind of violence, and they do provide different kind of work, and they do workshops, personal development, where they do work emotional management, communication and conflict management, self-knowledge and self-esteem, computer skills, very important, and jobs research. And they do workshops more practical, maybe to a new profession, and maybe for additional income. It's so important, and for a therapeutic way too. So they start to make sewing workshops. And what the woman said is like, I'm feeling like I know how to do things, and these things of realization is very, very important, to do things with the initiation and end. I have an object that I can not only see, but I can also touch. These things of concrete. It's not so abstract. It's something concrete. I feel like I'm sewing my own life. This is very important because you metaphorically and literally, you are like putting a clear intention, a new and clear intentions. It is very important. It's very important. And this gives them autonomy, confidence, and self-esteem. So how hard can improve psychological, emotional, social conditions for women? The perfection I see in you is the perfection I have in me. When we are contemplating or recognizing the perfection, the beauty, and the things and people, we are also recognizing that beauty in us. So it's so important to create things with different shapes, with different colors, with different movements, and we are creating with in symbolic language. And this working with this symbolic language, we don't have the filters of the mind. It's a complete different work, because we don't have the filters of the mind, so we can go directly to the unconscious and give them that message. So these pictures were taken in art therapy workshops that I gave, and I'm giving at Portuguese League Against Cancer here in Seychelles. I found I could say things with color and shapes that I couldn't say any other way, things I had no words for. So arts, and when we say arts, we can make like journaling, painting, cooking, even cooking. We can make cooking with heart. And it's a way, it can be a way of express and process emotions. It's a way to reduce stress and improve our mental health. Here we are working with her, with clay, and it is earth elements. And when Cobra says the mother, we are here like working with it's mother nature, in fact, and the clay gives us that opportunity to create whatever we want. It is very important talking about emotions. The word emotion comes from the Latin word emotio, which means movement or impulse, that which moves towards. When emotion is response to it becomes a vital impulse. An impulse that we can transform into action and understanding. So it's so important. It's so important. We all have emotions, and emotions are energy, good energy. The thing is what we do with that. And we all the time have two options, all the time. Or we create, or we destroy. And I want to not do the separation between good or bad, ugly or beauty. We need to destroy. We need to destroy too. We need to destroy old structures, old ways of view the things, old perceptions. We need that. The thing is how we do it. Many times, like many people said, like the boys and the girls sometimes like can't manage the emotions, even the adults. We have to learn how to do it in a healthy way. To put an end to evil, one should not fight, but work energetically in direction of good. And this pictures from a specific technique is named kintsugi technique. It's a Japanese technique. It's repaired with gold. In this case, it's not gold. It's glue. It's glue with golden glitter. And this is an example. With art, we can do it in a certain space, secure space, in time. We can create that like we can create in life. We create some attachment with objects here, like we are painting so beautiful. After that, we destroy it in a security way. We have a container. It's so important. We have a container. When we have a group, we have a container. This is so important. And after that, all the process of the collecting the pieces. And at the end, we have objects more beautiful, more value, with more value including. So we have to know how to transform in a healthy way whole stories and perceived limitations. The limit, it is very important in women, in people in general, and in women in specific. The limit is the distance which I can love you and myself simultaneously. And we usually think we can't be a kind person and at the same time setting limits. Usually we concept like, if I'm a good person, I can say no. No, if we are a good person, we have to say no sometimes, yes? And the arts gives us that opportunity to create new limits, to exercise that. Any stone is a diamond for those who can see. So, to experience our creativity, to exercise our creativity is so important, and exercise our uniqueness, our singularity. This is so important for our life, for our happiness, for our health, to exercise our uniqueness. And we don't have right or wrong. We don't have. And here with art, we can exercise that. What we need to improve is not universe, but the way we look at it. Lama dir Arvanta. So we have a beginning, a middle, and a end. We have new stories. We can create new stories and new sides. And with that, it's what stays with us. And with that, we can create a new life. And that's it. Thank you.
Bravo, Claudia. It was absolutely beautiful. And and if you all of you agree, I would like you to keep that one of the last slides about the beginning, the stories, a new life, a new beginning. If you please could share once again.
Yes.
Because I think this is a real message, you know. This is why we are here, and this is why we organize this and give our time to this, to create new stories, a new changing the idiosyncrasy. Now we came from a beginning that is violent. In the middle, we have a process of transition, and we are aimed to end with art in a way that we could change the way we look at it, and the way others could look at this, as Christina said, this global crisis that is so terrible for all of us. So this is our message, a message of new beginnings. And I deeply grateful with all of you, with your time, with your energy, with your spirit, and to take that challenge for individual freedom, to take that challenge. I am free to make a difference, and I'm doing now. So thank you for that. And this is a new beginning. We are going to continue along this year with all of you. So please keep in touch, and thank you for being here. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye, everybody. Peace and love.